The space station hung in the void like a shining jewel, a hub where thousands of alien species mingled, traded, and whispered secrets. Lights glimmered from docking bays, reflecting off the polished metal walls. Ships of all shapes and sizes came and went, each leaving a trail of colored exhaust in the darkness. Amidst this chaotic beauty, a human named Kale walked cautiously beside the young alien diplomat Lyria. Lyria was slender, with translucent skin that shimmered softly under the station lights. Her eyes were wide and observant, filled with a mix of curiosity and caution. She had grown up hearing stories of humans, tall, unpredictable, and untested in the galaxy, but she had never met one herself. Until now. "Stay close," Lyria whispered, her voice trembling slightly as they moved through a crowded corridor. "Some of these aliens, they do not trust humans easily." Kale nodded, scanning the crowd. His eyes were a warm brown, unremarkable to anyone who had seen humans before. But inside, something stirred, an instinct he had never noticed before, a strange awareness of everything around him. They passed alien merchants selling spices that floated in zero-gravity bubbles, mechanical parts that hummed with energy, and strange living fabrics that moved as if breathing. The crowd was dense, but Kyle felt no fear. Instead, a calm settled over him, sharpening his senses. Every sound, every movement, every whisper seemed to stand out clearly. Lyria noticed his gaze lingering on a group of tall, armored aliens. They were observing him closely, whispering to one another. She tried to nudge him forward, but before she could, Kale's eyes changed. It started as a flicker, a shimmer in the brown, but then they shifted fully to a bright silver. A soft, glowing light radiated from them, faint but unmistakable. And in that instant, the crowd froze. The merchant selling floating spices dropped one of his glowing spheres. It hovered in midair, spinning slowly as his jaw fell open. Nearby, a group of alien soldiers stiffened, their weapons still in hand but unmoving. Even the loudest alien chatter seemed to vanish, replaced by a stunned silence. Lyria gasped. "Kyle, your eyes. I don't know what's happening." Kyle whispered, his voice calm, though his heart beat faster. "It's like something inside me reacted." Aliens around them stared, some leaning back, some whispering in low tones. Even creatures who had faced deadly predators across the galaxy stepped carefully, as if Kale himself radiated an invisible force. "Humans are strange," one alien muttered in a dialect Lyria only partly understood. "No sensors detect this, but it is real." Lyria's curiosity grew, mingled with a hint of fear. Humans were already considered mysterious, but this reaction was beyond anything she had imagined. She glanced at Kale, whose expression was calm, almost unreadable, despite the growing attention. Kale shook his head slightly, and his eyes returned to their normal brown. Instantly the crowd relaxed, but the air still carried whispers of awe. Some aliens edged closer, trying to catch a glimpse of him, while others quietly backed away. What just happened?" Lyria asked. Kale took a slow breath. "I think it's some kind of stress response. My body reacts to extreme situations in ways I can't control. I guess seeing so many different species, all watching us, triggered it." Lyria frowned. "Triggered it? You mean humans have hidden abilities?" Kale shrugged. "Not abilities exactly. More like instincts. Things humans can do that others don't even notice until it's too late." They continued walking, weaving through the station. But Kale could feel eyes on him everywhere they went. Alien children peeked from behind crates, whispering to one another. Older aliens, even those who had been part of battles across multiple systems, cast uneasy glances. It was clear, humans were being underestimated, and Kale's presence was changing that. A sudden commotion ahead drew their attention. Two merchants argued loudly over the ownership of a rare energy crystal. Voices rose, hands waved, and a crowd gathered. Normally, such disputes ended in shoving or the station guards intervening. Kale stepped forward instinctively. His eyes flickered again, just a hint of silver at the edges. He raised his hand slightly, and the arguing merchants froze mid-motion, almost as if they were listening to an invisible voice. "Enough," Cal said quietly. His voice was calm, even soothing, yet every word carried weight. "This crystal belongs to neither of you alone. You will negotiate fairly, or it will be taken by station authorities." The merchants blinked, stunned. Then slowly they nodded, lowering their voices. The crowd murmured, impressed. Lyria's jaw dropped. "You did that without fighting?" she asked. Kyle smiled faintly. "Humans often find ways to solve problems without weapons. We rely on thinking, observing, and predicting." The alien crowd still stared, whispering among themselves. Even the station guards paused, unsure of what to do. Lyria realized something astonishing. Wherever Kale went, his presence alone shifted the balance. Humans, it seemed, had powers aliens could not measure. A sudden alarm blared through the station, loud and urgent. Red lights flashed across the walls. Lyria grabbed Kale's arm. "Something's wrong." That was no ordinary alarm. Kyle's eyes shifted again, this time to a faint golden hue. The glow was soft, almost ethereal, and every alien around them fell completely silent. Even the alarm seemed to dim in significance against the presence he radiated. What is that?" Lyria whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know," Kale admitted, feeling the golden warmth spread through his vision. "It's like my body senses danger before it happens." A shadow moved across the crowd, quick and deliberate. Kale noticed it immediately, a group of dark-cloaked figures moving with precision, trying not to be seen. His eyes narrowed. "Someone's following us," he said. Lyria turned, but the cloaked figures melted back into the crowd. "Who are they?" "I don't know yet," Kale said, voice steady. "But they are dangerous. Pay attention, Lyria, stay close." The station's corridors became a maze as Kale and Lyria moved carefully. Kale's eyes flickered between brown, silver, and gold, almost instinctively. Every shift seemed to send subtle signals, warning nearby aliens, calming those he wanted calm, and alerting him to unseen threats. They reached a quieter sector of the station. Here the hum of engines was softer, and fewer aliens wandered. Kale stopped and looked around. "They're close," he said, "but they don't know what they're dealing with yet." Lyria's eyes widened. "Kale, why do you change like that? Why do they react?" Kale touched his eyes briefly. "Humans have instincts. We notice things others don't. We survive by predicting, by sensing patterns. I think my eyes show what I feel inside. When danger is near, my body reacts in a way that others can see." The two of them paused, hidden behind a large cargo container. From the shadows, the cloaked figures observed, whispering among themselves. "The human. It is not ordinary," one said. "We must report this to the council. They cannot be ignored." Lyria shivered. "Kale, they are planning something. We need to move." Kale nodded. "I know, but we are not running blindly. I can feel their movements, their intentions. If they try anything, they will not succeed easily." Even as they moved, aliens continued to whisper about him. Children peeked from behind crates. Parents held them close. Soldiers glanced at him with something resembling respect, or perhaps fear. Kale's presence was a quiet revolution in perception. The galaxy, it seemed, had underestimated humans for centuries. For the first time, Lyria understood something fundamental. Humans were not just another species. They were unpredictable, clever, and resilient in ways aliens could not comprehend. And Kale, standing beside her, was living proof of that truth. The shadowy figures melted back into the station, waiting, watching, learning. But Kale's eyes glowed softly, silver and gold, signaling that the human's awareness would not be caught off guard. "Come on," Kale said, taking Lyria's hand gently. "We move carefully now. But remember, humans are never as weak as they seem." Lyria nodded, her fear mixed with admiration. She had seen strength in many forms among alien species, but this was different. Kale was a reminder that humans carried something ancient, something instinctive that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. And somewhere in the shadows, those who sought to capture him realized one undeniable truth. This human, with his ever-changing eyes, was not just a stranger. He was something the galaxy had never seen before, and every species around him would have to pay attention. Kale led Lyria deeper into the station, silent and aware as countless eyes followed them in awe, curiosity, and fear. His journey was just beginning, but already his presence had left a mark, and in the vast expanse of the galaxy, humans were slowly starting to be noticed. The silence of the station lingered after him, a quiet acknowledgement that one human could change everything. The corridors of the station were alive with motion, yet somehow Kale and Lyria moved like shadows. Every footstep, every glance seemed calculated, though Kale claimed it was instinct. He could feel the tension in the air, the invisible threads of attention from unseen watchers. His eyes, now a soft gold, scanned every corridor, every doorway, reading threats before they could act. Lyria struggled to keep up. "Kale, how do you do this?" she whispered. Kyle shook his head. "It's not magic, Lyria. Humans notice things others miss. Sounds, movements, patterns. It's survival instinct. My eyes, they just show it." They turned a corner and entered a marketplace filled with alien species of all shapes and sizes. Some had scales, some feathers, some glimmering skin that seemed to change color with the light. Merchants shouted in strange languages, trading goods no human could imagine. Floating crates carried fruits that sparkled like jewels. Kyle's eyes flickered silver for a moment, and the crowd's energy shifted. Aliens paused mid-step. Some froze completely, as if sensing the presence of something they did not understand. Children hid behind parents, and even the station guards, alert to danger in 100 forms, gave him a wide berth. Lyria whispered, They respect you or fear you." Kyle gave a small smile. "Perhaps a little of both." A sudden shout rang out. Two large aliens had begun arguing violently over a rare component. Their voices were deep and rumbling, echoing down the corridor. Normally, disputes like this ended in shoving matches or worse, but Kale stepped forward calmly. "Stop," he said, his voice soft yet commanding. His eyes flickered silver briefly, enough to make the arguing aliens pause mid-motion. They looked at him bewildered. You are human," one growled, but his voice lacked conviction. "And you are—" He hesitated, struggling to describe the unease he felt. Kale tilted his head. "I am someone who wants fairness. Decide calmly, or your dispute will be settled by station authorities." The aliens looked around. The crowd had grown silent, watching every movement. Slowly, reluctantly, the arguing aliens nodded. They stepped back, muttering, unsure if they were obeying a human or some invisible force. Lyria's eyes widened. "Kale, you didn't even raise your hand." Kale shook his head. "Sometimes people just need someone to show confidence. Humans, we can do this naturally. We predict outcomes before others act." The two of them continued moving, keeping to quieter corridors. Kale's senses were alert to every sound. From the corner of his eye, he noticed movement, a shadow flicking along the wall. Someone was following them. "Lyria," he said softly, "stay close. They're trying to remain unseen, but I can feel them." She followed closely, clutching his arm. "Who are they?" "I don't know yet," Kale replied. "But they are not ordinary station visitors. They want something from me, or from you." As they moved deeper into the station, Kale's eyes shifted again, this time to a deeper gold. It was subtle but noticeable. He could sense the intentions of the cloaked figures trailing them. They moved with purpose, silent and precise, as if trained for this moment. A faint hum filled the corridor, an energy signature Kale had never felt before. His instincts screamed caution. He slowed, signaling Lyria to do the same. They ducked behind a large cargo container. From the shadows, two of the cloaked figures approached, their movements deliberate. Kyle's eyes flickered silver, and he observed them silently. The aliens paused, sensing something they could not define. Fear, perhaps, or respect. Kale did not need weapons. His presence alone created a barrier. "Kale, what do we do?" Lyria whispered. "We wait," he said. "We watch. Humans are good at seeing opportunities. They act too soon, they fail." The cloaked figures scanned the corridor, moving carefully. One of them reached for a communicator. Kale's eyes flashed gold briefly. The figure froze, a subtle unease spreading through their body. Kale's senses read the hesitation, the doubt, the instinct to retreat, you see? Kale whispered to Lyria. They are unsure. Humans can make people hesitate, even without touching them. Lyria nodded, awe in her eyes. You are remarkable. I've never seen anything like this. The cloaked figures eventually moved on, continuing their search elsewhere in the station. Kale exhaled slowly. They will try again. They always do. Lyria looked around the quiet corridor. Kale, do you think humans are different? Really different? Kale paused, considering. We are underestimated. Other species think we are weak or limited. They do not understand instinct, strategy, resilience. That is our strength. And sometimes, our eyes show what we feel inside. They moved on, reaching a dimly lit lounge area. Lyria let out a sigh of relief. For a moment, I thought we'd never get away from them. Kyle smiled faintly. We have, but the galaxy is watching now. Every step we take is noticed. As they rested for a moment, Kyle's eyes flickered silver again. A small group of aliens in the lounge froze, their eyes fixed on him. One alien, tall and armored, whispered to another, "The human. It is more than flesh. He carries something ancient." Lyria's curiosity deepened. Ancient? Kale shook his head. I don't know about ancient. But humans. We have instincts and we survive. We can adapt quickly. That is what others do not see. Suddenly, a screen in the lounge flickered, displaying a message in an unknown language. Lyria frowned. Kale, they're sending a message to you. Kale stepped forward, eyes glowing faintly gold. As he read, his senses absorbed subtle patterns in the text. Hidden codes, warnings, threats. They know who I am, he said softly. They are sending a challenge. Lyria's eyes widened. A challenge? To you? Kale nodded. Yes, and I will not ignore it. Humans face challenges. We solve problems, we adapt. We survived. The lounge doors hissed open. Two cloaked figures stepped inside, moving quickly but cautiously. Kale's eyes flickered silver again. The figures froze, instinctively aware of his presence. You should leave, Kyle said calmly. You do not want to be here. The figures hesitated. Then, seeing no easy path, they retreated, melting back into the station's corridors. Lyria stared at him. Kyle, this is unlike anything I've seen in the galaxy. Humans, you are extraordinary. Kale's eyes returned to brown. He exhaled slowly, grounding himself. We are more than anyone thinks, and the more they watch, the more they will learn. But we must stay careful. The galaxy does not forgive mistakes easily. The two of them continued moving, now aware that the station itself seemed to shift in response to Kale. Alien guards unconsciously gave them space. Merchants paused mid-sail, observing them. Even children peeked from behind corners, sensing something unusual. Lyria realized something profound. Humans were not just another species. They were unpredictable, capable of resilience and insight that even the most advanced aliens could not measure. Kyle was living proof of that fact. As they reached the edge of the station, preparing to board their shuttle, Kyle's eyes flickered gold once more. He sensed the cloaked figures regrouping somewhere in the station, planning their next move. Are we safe now? Lyria asked, her voice tense. Kale shook his head. Safe is a word that belongs to illusions. We are prepared. That is enough. The shuttle doors opened and they boarded silently. As the engines powered up, Kyle felt the station's energy, the subtle attention of countless eyes still on them. He knew their journey was only beginning. Outside the window, stars stretched infinitely. Lyria sat beside him, still trying to comprehend what she had witnessed. Kyle, when we return, do you think others will notice humans like you? Kale's gaze went distant. They already are noticing, and soon the galaxy will learn. Humans are not to be underestimated. The shuttle lifted from the station, leaving behind whispers, silent awe, and curiosity. And in that moment, Lyria understood the truth. Wherever Kale went, his presence would leave a mark. The galaxy would begin to see humans differently, not as weak newcomers, but as beings capable of changing the rules entirely. Kale's eyes returned to brown. But the memory of their glow lingered, and somewhere, deep in the shadows of the station, those who had watched and waited knew one thing for certain. The human was extraordinary, and the galaxy was about to discover why. The shuttle glided silently through the void, leaving the bustling station behind. Kale sat beside Lyria, eyes scanning the stars, yet he seemed aware of far more than the view outside. His instincts, honed over countless hours of observation and experience, hummed quietly, alerting him to subtle shifts in the void. Lyria broke the silence. "Kyle, do you think they will follow us?" Kale's brown eyes flickered gold for a brief moment. "They will. Aliens who see a threat rarely stop, but we are not helpless. Humans adapt. We survive." The shuttle's interior was simple. Lights glowed softly. Panels displayed star maps and sensor readings. Yet Kale barely glanced at them. His awareness extended beyond the visible. He could feel the invisible currents of attention from ships in the nearby sectors. Something or someone was observing them. As they passed through a minor asteroid belt, Kyle's instincts flared. "They are here," he said calmly. Lyria stiffened. "Where?" Kale didn't point. His eyes shifted silver, glowing faintly, and he focused on the subtle disturbances in the gravitational field, the tiny energy signatures hiding among the rocks. A small fleet cloaked. "They are trying to ambush us." Lyria's eyes widened. "Ambush here?" "Yes," Kale said. "But humans are not easy targets. Trust me." The cloaked fleet moved closer, their presence revealed only by Kale's uncanny perception. He studied their formation, predicting the likely approach. Without hesitation, he activated the shuttle's defensive systems. Not weapons, but adaptive shields. The ship shimmered under a protective layer of energy, ready to deflect any surprise attack. Lyria watched in awe. How did you know?" Kyle shrugged. "Humans notice patterns. We see intentions, not just actions. And sometimes, our instincts are stronger than technology." The first attack came suddenly. Energy pulses fired from hidden ships, seeking to disable the shuttle. Kale's eyes shifted gold, tracking the pulses in real time. He maneuvered the shuttle smoothly, dodging the blasts with precision that seemed impossible. The cloaked attackers hesitated, unsure of the shuttle's sudden agility. Kale's calmness, his eyes flickering with subtle colors, made them hesitate. The hesitation was enough. Even advanced alien fleets relied on speed and brute force. Humans relied on insight. Lyria gripped her seat. "You are incredible. I've never seen anything like this in my life." Kale glanced at her. "Stay focused. We're not out of danger yet." The attackers regrouped, forming a tighter formation. Kale's eyes shifted silver again. He could almost see their thoughts, the patterns of their approach, the weaknesses in their plan. Using subtle adjustments, he led the shuttle through the asteroid field, weaving between rocks and energy pulses. Every movement was calculated, instinctive yet precise. One of the enemy ships tried to flank them. Kale predicted the maneuver instantly. "To the left," he commanded. The shuttle shifted, avoiding the trap. The alien ship's pulse missed, striking a nearby asteroid instead, which exploded in a shower of debris. Lyria's jaw dropped. How do you do that?" Kale gave a small, calm smile. "Humans have a way of seeing things others cannot. You sense, you predict, and you act before danger reaches you." The ambush continued, but each attempt failed. Kale's awareness was unmatched. His eyes shifted gold, silver, and brown in cycles, each change sharpening his perception, alerting him to danger, and guiding him through impossible odds. The cloaked attackers finally realized brute force would not succeed. "They underestimate humans," Kale murmured, "and that is their mistake." The fleet broke off, retreating silently into the void. Kale exhaled, letting the tension flow out of him. Lyria looked at him with admiration. "I don't know if I can ever forget this. You are not like any human I imagined." Kyle shook his head gently. "Most humans are not extraordinary in ways you notice. But in moments like this, instincts and courage make the difference." Lyria studied him closely. "Do your eyes always change like that?" Kale's brown eyes returned, calm and steady. "Only when necessary. It's a signal to myself and sometimes to others. The galaxy senses strength, even when it does not understand it." Their shuttle continued its course toward a small, neutral station on the edge of the sector. It was a place where information flowed freely and Kyle needed answers. The cloaked attackers were likely part of a larger faction seeking to understand or control humans. As they docked, Lyria helped Kale disembark. The station was quieter than the previous one, filled with diplomats, traders, and informants. Yet Kale sensed attention immediately. Aliens noticed him the moment he stepped onto the platform. Some froze, some whispered, some simply stared. This is unusual, Lyria whispered. Even here, people notice you. Kale smiled faintly. It is not me they notice. It is what humans represent. Unpredictability. Resilience. The ability to survive when others fail. Inside the station, they moved carefully through crowded corridors. Kale's eyes flickered silver occasionally, alerting him to hidden watchers and potential threats. Even seasoned alien guards gave him extra space. They reached a secluded library where old records of galactic events were stored. Lyria guided Kale to an archive terminal. Some of these files may explain why humans are so feared or ignored, she said. Kale touched the terminal and information flowed before him. Historical records, battles, ancient encounters, and notes on human adaptability all showed a pattern. Aliens had underestimated humans for centuries, assuming their technology and numbers were limited, yet humans had survived, adapted, and thrived where others would have fallen. This proves it, Kyle murmured. Humans are not weak. We learn, adapt, and overcome. That is why the galaxy is wary now. They sense what they cannot control. As he studied the records, his eyes shifted gold briefly. Patterns appeared to him that others would miss. The movements of fleets, the timing of political decisions, the unseen threads of power. Humans were small in numbers compared to many alien species, yet they held a strength that could not be measured by technology alone. Lyria watched him, awe mixing with fear. Kyle, do you think they will try to stop you? Kale nodded. They already have, and they will try again. But humans, we do not yield easily. Every challenge is an opportunity to prove ourselves. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft alarm. Kale's eyes flickered silver. He sensed it immediately. A hidden detector scanning for unusual energy. Someone knew he was here? They found us, Kale said calmly. We need to move. They navigated through secret corridors, avoiding detection. Kale's perception guided them effortlessly. Even the smallest vibrations in the walls, the subtle energy shifts of nearby sensors, were visible to him. Suddenly, a figure blocked their path. A tall alien in dark armor, moving deliberately. Kale's eyes glowed gold and the figure froze instinctively. The human's presence radiated awareness, control, and calm strength. You should not be here, Kale said, voice soft but firm. The armored alien hesitated. Something in Kale's eyes, the subtle glow of instinct, made him second-guess his actions. Slowly, he stepped aside. Kyle and Lyria moved past, unharmed, leaving the alien to wonder what he had just experienced. Once they were safe in a hidden corridor, Lyria turned to Kale. You are unlike anyone I've ever met. The way you see things, the way you react, it's extraordinary, Kale smiled faintly. It is not magic, Lyria. It is instinct, observation, and adaptability. Humans survive because we notice, predict, and act. That is our strength. The two of them continued through the station, moving toward the exit. Kale's eyes shifted brown once more, calm and steady. Yet the memory of silver and gold lingered, a reminder that humans were more than what the galaxy believed. Outside, the stars stretched infinitely. The void was quiet, but Kale knew attention followed them. Shadowy eyes watched from distant ships, fleets hiding just beyond sensor range. They had seen a human, and that human had survived. And in the galaxy, survival was the first step toward respect. Lyria looked at Kale, understanding dawning in her eyes. Humans were not just another species. They were unpredictable, resilient, and capable of facing impossible odds with instinct and courage. Kale embodied all of this, a living example of the power humans held quietly within them. As they boarded their next shuttle, leaving the neutral station behind, Kale's eyes flickered silver one last time, sensing distant watchers preparing for their next move. The galaxy is noticing us now, he said softly. And it will not forget, Lyria nodded. I will never look at humans the same way again. Kale's brown eyes met hers. Good. The galaxy should never underestimate humans. Not now, not ever. The shuttle lifted into the void, leaving behind whispers, awe, and growing curiosity. The humans had arrived not as strangers, but as beings whose instincts, courage, and adaptability would slowly, inevitably, change the galaxy. And somewhere, the shadowy watchers knew that the story of humans was just beginning. The shuttle moved quietly through the darkness, stars streaking past the windows like silver threads. Kyle sat in the pilot seat, eyes scanning the sensors while Lyria remained beside him, glancing nervously at the calm, confident human. They had evaded the first ambush, but Kale knew their pursuers were patient. Aliens did not give up easily when something unusual appeared in the galaxy. "Kale, why do they want you so badly?" Lyria asked, her voice low. "I've never seen anything like what you can do." Kyle's brown eyes flickered briefly silver as he considered the question. "I am not the first human to be underestimated. But there is something unique about the way humans react in certain situations. Others cannot measure it. That is what they want to study or control." Lyria swallowed hard. "Control? But why?" Kale's gaze turned distant. "Humans are unpredictable. We notice patterns, sense danger, and adapt in ways that even advanced alien species cannot. That gives us an edge, a power others fear." The shuttle entered the orbit of a small, uninhabited planet. Kale's instincts had guided them here, a hidden outpost used by explorers, smugglers, and diplomats who preferred privacy. The landing bay was rough, made of worn metal plates, but it was secure. They disembarked cautiously. The planet's surface was quiet, a mixture of jagged rocks and faint glowing minerals that shimmered under the light of a distant sun. Lyria looked around, amazed at the isolation. "It's beautiful, but lonely." Kale smiled faintly. "Perfect for what we need." They moved toward a concealed entrance beneath a large rock formation. Inside was a network of tunnels and chambers, lit by faint energy strips embedded in the walls. Kale led the way, eyes flickering silver now and then, sensing every movement, every hidden observer. "This place," Lyria whispered. "How did you know it existed?" "Humans have instincts," Kale said simply. "We notice patterns. We learn, and sometimes we remember places others forget." In a central chamber, ancient alien artifacts lined the walls. Crystals, devices, and panels hummed faintly, as if holding secrets long forgotten. Kale approached a large console in the center. Its surface pulsed faintly, responding to his presence. "What is this?" Lyria asked. Kale touched the console lightly. His eyes shifted gold, and a stream of information appeared before him. Holographic symbols, diagrams, and records from centuries past. He studied them carefully. These records. "They mention humans," he murmured. "Long ago, humans encountered advanced alien species and survived. Not by strength, but by instinct, by cleverness. They noted our ability to sense danger and predict outcomes." Lyria's eyes widened. "You mean humans have always been underestimated?" Kale nodded. "Yes, and it is why they fear us now. They think they can control what they do not understand. But humans, we adapt." As they explored, Kale's attention was drawn to a crystal panel. It glowed faintly, almost as if it recognized him. He placed his hand on it and the chamber brightened. Symbols shifted, forming a map of star systems, routes, and hidden locations. But one section pulsed brighter, a cluster of systems far from human colonies. Lyria leaned closer. "What is it showing?" Kale's eyes glimmered silver. "A faction. An alien organization that studies powerful species. They want humans. They have observed us for centuries, tracking abilities, instincts, and resilience. This is their base of operations." A chill ran down Lyria's spine. "So the people who tried to ambush us, they are part of this?" Kale nodded. "Yes, they study species like us, looking for weaknesses. But humans are difficult to predict. That is our advantage. And sometimes, our instincts warn us before danger arrives." As he spoke, the crystal panel displayed an image of a human from centuries ago, a warrior, a leader, someone whose instincts had saved countless lives. Kale studied the figure, realizing the connection. Humans had survived countless threats, and each time their adaptability had made the difference. They were like you," Lyria whispered. "Yes," Kale said softly. "And now it is my turn. I cannot ignore what they want. I must understand it before they find me, or anyone I care about." Suddenly, the chamber walls vibrated faintly. Kale's eyes shifted gold. Sensors detected movement outside the entrance. The alien faction had found them, either by chance or through observation. "We need to prepare," Kale said calmly. "They will try again. This time they will not hesitate." Lyria followed his lead, helping to secure the chamber's entrances. Kale's eyes flickered silver, reading patterns in the vibrations, the faint energy traces left by approaching enemies. He predicted their movements before they arrived. The first figure stepped into the chamber, a tall, armored alien moving cautiously. Kale's gold eyes glowed and the figure froze, instinctively aware of the human's presence. "You should not be here," Kale said, voice calm but firm. The alien hesitated. Kale's gaze shifted, silver now, and the figure felt an invisible pressure, a warning. Slowly, the alien lowered its stance, retreating to regroup outside. "They are cautious," Kale murmured. "They sense something they cannot measure. Humans are unpredictable." Lyria looked at him, awe in her eyes. "You are not just strong. You change how people feel even without fighting." Kale nodded. "Humans have presence. Instincts make others hesitate. That hesitation is enough to survive." The chamber grew quiet again, but Kale knew the alien faction would not give up. They were patient, precise, and persistent. His eyes flickered silver and gold, signaling focus, awareness, and readiness. "We need to move," he said. "We cannot stay here forever. But we now know who they are and why they are after humans like me. Knowledge is our first weapon." Lyria followed him as they navigated deeper tunnels, avoiding sensors and surveillance. Kyle's instincts guided them, each step calculated, each movement precise. Even in darkness, he saw everything. The faintest traces of energy, the subtle shifts in the environment, and the intentions of anyone nearby. At a hidden exit, Kale paused. "Once we leave here, we will enter neutral space. It will be safer for now, but the alien faction will continue watching. They will learn, and they will plan. We must be ready." Lyria nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Kyle, I have never seen anyone like you." "The galaxy, it underestimates humans at its own risk." Kyle's brown eyes returned, calm and steady. "Exactly. And we must show them why humans cannot be ignored." They stepped out into the shuttle, leaving the hidden chamber behind. Kale piloted them into the starry void, moving quietly, aware of every possible observer. The alien faction would continue its search, but humans were not easy prey. As they traveled, Kale reflected on what he had learned from the chamber. Humans had survived impossible odds in the past. Their instincts, courage, and adaptability had carried them through countless dangers. And now he carried that legacy forward. Lyria watched him, admiration growing. "Kale, humans are extraordinary. I cannot explain it, but you are different from anything I have ever known." Kale smiled faintly. "We are not always extraordinary, Lyria, but when circumstances demand it, instincts and courage reveal what humans are truly capable of." The shuttle continued through the void, leaving behind whispers, shadows, and the slowly dawning understanding that the galaxy's view of humans was changing. Wherever Kale went, his presence left an impression, and somewhere deep in the sectors of the alien faction, sensors recorded his movements, strategists debated his abilities, and a quiet fear grew. Humans were no longer invisible. They were unpredictable. And one human, with eyes that changed color, was about to teach the galaxy a lesson in caution, respect, and survival. Kale's eyes flickered silver once more, sensing distant ships, hidden observers, and the faint pulse of approaching danger. The journey was far from over, but he was ready. Humans had survived before, and they would survive again. Lyria looked at him with trust and awe. "Kale, we will face this together, won't we?" Kale's brown eyes met hers, calm and certain. "Always humans survive. And humans protect those who matter." The shuttle moved on, silent and unstoppable into the endless void, carrying humans whose instincts, courage, and presence would slowly, inevitably, change the balance of the galaxy. The shuttle glided through the black expanse of space. Stars sparkled like scattered diamonds, yet Kale's eyes were not on them. His instincts hummed, alerting him to subtle movements, faint energy signatures that others would not notice. The alien faction that had been tracking them was near. He could feel it in the quiet, in the tiny disturbances of the void. Lyria sat beside him, her hands gripping the edge of the seat. "Kyle, they've followed us all this way. What do we do?" Kale's brown eyes shifted to silver, a faint glow revealing his focus. "We do what humans always do. We assess, predict, and act. Fear is for those who cannot adapt. We survive." Lyria shivered. "I've never seen anyone like you. Your eyes, they change, and everyone reacts." Kyle gave a small smile. "It's not just the eyes. It is awareness, instinct, presence. Humans are underestimated because we do things differently. and that is our strength. Outside the shuttle, shadows moved, cloaked alien ships attempting to ambush them. Kale's senses detected their approach long before sensors could register. His eyes flickered gold, reading the patterns of their movements, predicting their maneuvers before they struck. They are close, Kyle said calmly. But humans have ways to turn the tide. Lyria watched as he adjusted the shuttle's course. Each movement was precise, instinctive, yet almost effortless. Energy pulses fired from the cloaked fleet seeking to disable the shuttle, but Kale anticipated them, maneuvering between them with smooth, calculated arcs. The alien ships hesitated. The humans were unlike anything they had encountered. Kale's presence, his ever-shifting eyes, his calm confidence, it unsettled even the most experienced pilots. "They fear you," Lyria whispered. "Even now." Kale nodded, eyes gold once more. They underestimate humans. That is always a mistake. A sudden cluster of enemy ships moved to flank the shuttle. Kyle's eyes flickered silver. He could see the pattern, the likely outcome, and he acted immediately. With a series of swift maneuvers, he led the enemy fleet into an asteroid field. Their pulses ricocheted off the jagged rocks, some striking each other, others exploding harmlessly into space. "Humans think differently," Kale murmured. "We don't just react. We predict. We adapt. We survive." Lyria stared in awe. You are incredible. I've never seen anyone move like this." The alien fleet regrouped, more cautious now. Kyle's gold eyes scanned the remaining ships. He could sense hesitation, doubt, even fear. Humans had a presence that shifted the balance, that made others reconsider their actions. "This ends now," Kyle said quietly. "They have followed us far enough." He activated the shuttle's energy shields, not to attack, but to create a visible barrier. The shields shimmered with light, reflecting the faint glow of distant stars. Kale's eyes glowed silver, and the nearest alien ships froze, sensing an invisible force they could not define. "They are waiting for a mistake," Kale whispered to Lyria. "We will give them none." Suddenly, the largest of the cloaked ships surged forward, attempting to ram the shuttle. Kale's instincts flared, and his eyes shifted gold. With precise timing, he guided the shuttle to dodge, using the momentum of the enemy ship to send it spinning into the asteroid field. The remaining ships hesitated, scanning, unsure of their next move. Kale's presence radiated calm power, a reminder that humans could not be predicted or controlled easily. "They know now," Lyria said softly. "They cannot understand you." Kale's brown eyes returned, calm and steady. "And that is enough for now. But we must finish this. Humans do not run when we can face danger. We act. We protect. We survive." The shuttle approached a nearby planet, a barren world that offered high ground and cover. Kyle guided them to the surface, landing smoothly despite the rough terrain. He stepped out first, eyes flickering gold, scanning the horizon. Alien ships hovered at a distance, waiting, calculating, unsure. Lyria followed, awe in her eyes. "Kyle, what now?" Kyle's gaze swept across the landscape. "Now, we make them understand. Humans are not prey, humans are not weak, and humans do not yield when they see danger." He raised his hands subtly, and his eyes shifted silver. The aliens hesitated, sensing the power of awareness, instinct, and calm that radiated from him. Kale could see the doubt in their minds, the fear of the unpredictable. One by one, the alien ships began to retreat, realizing that brute force would not work. Kale's presence alone had turned the tide. Even the most seasoned alien commanders had underestimated what humans could do. Lyria stepped closer. "Kyle, they are leaving. You didn't even fire a weapon." Kyle smiled faintly. "Weapons are not always needed. Humans survive because we understand, anticipate, and act with insight. Presence can be stronger than technology." The alien fleet retreated into the void, leaving the barren planet quiet once more. Kyle's eyes returned to Brown, calm and steady. He looked at Lyria. "They will remember this. Humans are not to be underestimated. Not now, not ever. Lyria's admiration was clear. You've changed the way I see humans. Not just you. All of you. Kyle nodded. Good. The galaxy must learn that humans are unpredictable, resilient, and capable of overcoming impossible odds. That is what makes us strong. As they walked back to the shuttle, Lyria glanced at the distant stars. Kale, the galaxy will talk about this. They'll remember a human survived where others could not. Yes, Kyle said quietly, and they will remember that humans do not yield. Humans survive. Humans protect. Humans change the rules without even trying. Back in the shuttle, they prepared to leave the planet. Kyle's eyes flickered gold once more, scanning the void. He sensed distant watchers, but he was ready. Humans had always faced danger, adapted, and survived. And he was a living example of that legacy. Lyria watched him, understanding dawning. Kale, the galaxy will never forget you. Kale's brown eyes met hers. And they will not forget humans, not now, not ever. The shuttle lifted into the stars, leaving behind whispers, awe, and respect. The alien faction would continue to watch, but they now knew that humans could not be underestimated. Kyle looked out into the infinite void, calm, focused, and ready for whatever came next. His eyes glimmered silver for a moment, a reminder that humans were aware, adaptable, and fearless. Wherever they went, their presence would leave a mark. And in that quiet moment, Lyria realized the truth. Humans were not just survivors. They were catalysts for change, unstoppable forces in the galaxy, capable of bending even the most cautious observers to respect and understanding. Kale turned to her, a faint smile on his lips. The galaxy will see, and humans will continue to thrive. That is what makes us extraordinary. Lyria nodded, hope and awe in her eyes. Yes, Kale. Humans are extraordinary. The shuttle disappeared into the starry expanse, carrying humans whose courage, instincts, and presence would change the galaxy forever. And somewhere, far in the distance, the alien faction realized that one human had already rewritten what they thought was possible. Kale's eyes returned to brown, calm and steady, but the memory of silver and gold lingered, a signal to the eye. Galaxy that humans had arrived, unpredictable, unyielding, and unstoppable. The stars stretched endlessly before them, but Kale and Lyria knew one thing for certain. Humans would survive, humans would protect, and humans would leave an indelible mark on the galaxy, and that mark would never fade.